So it looks like we're getting a new free trade agreement, the CPTPP, the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP. What is it and how can the UK actually benefit? So in this video, we'll look at all of that. We'll have two parts. The first part looks at the benefits for the UK as a nation, so the macroeconomic analysis. The second part looks at the micro view, so the business and company view and how companies can benefit. So in this video, I'll explore what is CPTPP actually, what are the aims, does it actually matter from a UK perspective, and what will the UK get out of it, and why is it important? And then in the second part, we'll look at your company, we'll look at companies in the UK. How can you actually benefit? How can you save a lot of money? I'll also give you one bonus tip of how you can even save more money. And I'll give you 5 tangible actions that you can take right now to prepare yourself when the thing actually goes live. So you up for it? Come on, join us. So the first thing we want to look at is what is CPTPP? It is a trade pact. It's a free trade agreement of 11 nations in the Asia-Pacific region. And soon the UK will join, making it the first European nation to join. The nations that have joined CPTPP are Canada, Mexico, Peru, Chile, New Zealand, Australia, Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and of course, Japan. The US is not part of it, and China is not part of it either. Now, this CPTPP is based on a previous agreement that was negotiated under the Barack Obama US administration. And that was called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. And that would have included the US. With the election of President Trump in 2016, the US left the discussions before ratification of the agreement. Under the Biden administration, there is a view that we stand and wait. President Biden previously wanted to join this agreement, but so far hasn't, and it's unclear whether he actually will. So we can't count on the US for now, but with or without the US, this is a pretty big deal. So what are the aims of the agreement? Well, CPTPP aims to lower trade barriers and ease trade across all industry and all facets of trade amongst these nations. And it concerns, of course, imports, exports of goods, but also equally services. And it is about the trade between the member nations. So in this video, I'll look at the trade in goods as I would as a customs manager. So we're looking at importing and exporting between these nations. So the UK exporting to these nations or receiving goods importing from these countries. Before we go anywhere though, there's some really impressive stats. CPTPP aims to create a trade bloc of more than 500 million customers, consumers. They could be consuming your products. So that's pretty impressive. And when the UK joins, we will have some 15% of the world's GDP. And that is a big, big number. So why is CPTPP actually important? Well, the straightforward answer is it creates predictable and simple rules. Rules and obligations that every nation that joins this trade bloc needs to follow. In particular for us, importers and exporters, 2 things matter: market access and the tariffs. So market access is about how each of these countries will lower their tariff, open the services market, and make it easier for business travelers to get visas and so on. Market access. And by the way, each member has a different schedule, and that determines the pace by which they will open their markets. And the second reason is customs tariffs. Tariffs between the countries that are part of CPTPP will be completely eliminated, almost completely eliminated, and the markets will be freed up. So that saves you the money. Tariffs are going to be kept for some highly sensitive areas. For example, Japan will keep its tariffs on rice, and Canada's dairy industry is also protected. So will the UK, Welsh lamb, etc. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, then you actually need to look into the CPTPP legal text. It has a lot of pages, a lot of chapters, but it details all the commitments of the countries in their schedules. It talks about market access for goods, market access for services, but also things like how to reduce trade barriers. It talks about provisions for SMEs, the environment, workers' rights, etc., etc. So all of this underpins the CPTPP, and I'll put details of how you can access this information in the description. So check that out, please. So how can you actually save a lot of money? So now we're into the second part of our talk about CPTPP, and this is the business-focused part. This is how you and your company can actually save some money. How will you even go about it? Well, look, you can save potentially millions in customs duty. How does that work? Well, the first thing, you need to be importing or exporting, right? Importing means you're going to be paying customs duty when the goods come into the UK, so it's in your interest to reduce them. Or exporting means you don't actually pay the customs duty, but your business partner in Japan, for example, would. So if you want to reduce that, then you need to follow the rules as laid out by the agreement, for which, again, you've got to look into the pages, into the chapters, into the legal provisions, etc., etc. The key point to remember, whether it's you that's actually going to be doing the saving or you're going to help your business partner in a CPTPP country to reduce the customs duty, is to figure out if your products are originating. You may have heard me say that before. The rules of origin that actually apply, they always apply in free trade agreements, so you might as well get used to them. Goods are considered originating as per the general and the product-specific rules in this agreement. Doesn't matter if the goods are actually created in Japan or created in Mexico. You need to follow the rules as per the agreement, and you need to look into the legal text to figure out if they do. Also, it's the second part. First of all, figure out if the rules of origin are actually met as per the CPTPP agreement. And then secondly, what about the certificate of origin, the proof that your goods are actually originating or that what you claim is actually true. I've made a video about rules of origin, preferential market access. I could go on for a long time, but I don't want this video to become too long. Here is the bonus tip, the one that can save you even more money. So assume you are producing in one CPTPP country, but the raw materials come from multiple CPTPP countries. These rules of origin allow you actually to combine all the content from CPTPP countries, combine them, and if, for example, the rule of origin states that you need to have at least, say, 70% CPTPP content, well, guess what? You combine now more content from these countries, and therefore it's much easier to reach. We call this technical concept diagonal cumulation, and it is allowed in CPTPP. So this way you can consider what normally under a traditional bilateral trade agreement would be non-originating materials, so would go into the non-qualifying for preferential treatment bucket. You can now take that out of the bucket and put it into the preferential treatment bucket, and so you grow that bucket until you hit that magical number of 70%, and then the product is actually originating. So you can treat your CPTPP partner country like it is from the country that you are sending, you're assembling, you're manufacturing, you're originating the goods from. So if you're bringing raw material from, say, South Korea or Malaysia to Japan, and then you assemble it, and you wouldn't quite meet the rules of origin traditionally. Now, if you add the Malaysian content and the Korean content into the originating bucket, well, then you meet the rules of origin. So diagonal cumulation has even more potential for you to originate and therefore save millions in customs duty and taxes. So what are the 5 steps that you can take right now to prepare yourself for the entry into operation of CPTPP? As you know, the UK has concluded negotiations, they've agreed to schedule, but now they actually need ratification, and then they can join CPTPP and everything can go live and we can start benefiting from it. So what are the 5 steps that you can take right now to prepare yourself for that? So first of course, you've got to evaluate the potential for you to benefit from CPTPP. So are you exporting from these markets? Are you importing towards these markets? What is your current normal non-CPTPP customs duty exposure? So you want to evaluate that, and then from there say, well, I'm actually going to save a lot of money if this customs duty can be reduced. So then secondly, you want to get familiar with CPTPP procedures, processes, rules. As I've mentioned, chapters, pages, where are the rules of origin? Read the rules of origin. What about the generic rules of origin versus the product specific rules of origin? What about diagonal accumulation? All of these kind of things, how does it work, needs to be considered. Hey, and if you need some refresher on this, or confused by all of this, then get rules of origin training. There's tons of trainings. I'll link some of them down below so you can check them out. This is about learning the rules of origin and about accumulation, which is a little tricky and needs a bit of thinking, needs a bit of analysis, maybe work through some case studies, etc. And then you can apply it to your business quite well. So next up, the fourth one. So the first one's evaluate. The second one is then get familiar. The third one is train yourself on the general rules of origin and accumulation, or any other attractive markets in CPTPP that you may want to enter in the future, or you're already kind of in now, and you can grow this more. So for example, at the moment you might be sourcing from a non-CPT country, for example China, and you're still paying a lot of customs duty that really reduce your profit margin. Is there a way that you could shift production, or that you could move goods? Now I said no, and produce them in a CPTPP country. I know these are supply chain considerations, and they actually are not as easy as me just talking about them, but at least we should plant the seed in your mind. If you have this agreement and it's all much easier to produce from CPTPP countries, is this something in the medium to long term that you can think about? And of course, the fifth topic is to get in touch. Let's have a detailed discussion about this opportunity. If you want to check this out, you want to talk about more about this, get more details, get stuck in, talk to other like-minded people about it, then of course, let's have a discussion about it. And I'm always up for it. Hey, so there you have it. What is CPTPP? What are the aims? What are the objectives? The macroeconomic analysis and the microeconomic analysis. What's in it for the UK? What are the benefits? And then how can you as a business actually benefit from it? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. And if you need any more information, then I'll give some more details about what CPT actually stands for. Lots of links, lots of details down below, so check it out. Hope this was useful. See you in the next video. Thank you.